So welcome to Guatemala. We have 1 week to explore Guatemala, and guess what? I decided to rent a car. So during this trip, for the first time, our first time in Guatemala, we're gonna explore the driving situation here, how to get to the most popular touristic places in Guatemala, and I'm gonna give you the most amazing and useful tips to plan your trip to Guatemala as well. Hola! We have arrived in Guatemala! We made it to the shopping mall in Guatemala. It took us 20 minutes instead of 10, but because we took a wrong turn. But I can officially say I drove in Guatemala City and we survived. We made it to Antigua Guatemala. So welcome to Antigua, the most popular and visited place in Guatemala. Although Antigua is not its capital, it's its former capital, the colonial city when the Spaniards conquered Guatemala, this wonderful place in Central America. And I just want to say that it's very easy to come here. It's very safe so far from what we've experienced. We've been here for like 3 days, right? And we also rented a car. We drove ourselves here from Guatemala City Airport, which is like 2-hour drive through the mountains. The traffic near the city in Guatemala was kind of chaotic, so if you're an experienced driver, you should be able to drive there. The other two main spots here, besides Antigua, Lake Atitlan and Tikal, there are buses that can take you there, even from Antigua. They're tourist bus, not like the local chicken buses, which are the cheapest things. But you have to book those through tour agencies. That's why, because we're so comfortable, we decided to rent a car and just drive there whenever we feel like it, so we don't have to carry our backpacks.
What's traffic like? Is it safe?
Yeah, so far it was safe, but I think we need a lot more to talk about stats.
Final question: Do you like it?
Yeah, so far we loved it. We were so stressed out about coming to Guatemala and about safety and hotels and whatever. But Guatemala is actually really, really safe, unexpectedly safe. So I get why people are still coming. I mean, starting to come here, and it still feels like an undiscovered gem, although it's quite touristy. Oh, and you have to speak Spanish.
¿Hablo español?
Yes, tú necesitas hablar español.
¿Tú hablas español?
Sí, yo hablo español. I think that's the thing that saves us. Okay, so here we are. Is 9:45. We've been driving half a day from Antigua to, I don't know, a bit further from Guatemala City. This drive should have taken us just a bit like under 3 hours, about 3 hours, but took us more than 7 because there's a huge unpredictable traffic in Guatemala, which everybody has been talking about over the internet, but I did not realize that unpredictable traffic means you get stuck in standstill traffic because of various events such as accidents, car crashes, or police filters, which are, I don't know, it just strangles the traffic, and then it's really difficult to, get ahead. And when we were just nearby Guatemala City for about 2 hours, the traffic was just hectic to a degree that it's really hard to imagine. And if you're not like a very experienced driver, used to driving in really crowded places where people don't really always apply traffic laws, then I would not recommend renting a car or driving in Guatemala. I do consider myself to be a very experienced driver, and I managed to drive today in Guatemala for 7 hours, although most of it was just sitting in traffic, but the rest of it was just paying constant attention to motorbikes all over, cars that would not signal, trucks that would not signal, cars and trucks not obeying any kind of traffic law whatsoever. But the worst part was just that we got stuck. There were like at least 2 accidents. It just took forever, and there are not any other roads that you can take. And at this point, I don't know if we should continue. Although we have 5 more days in Guatemala, it's really discouraging to see traffic moving so slowly. And fortunately, we found an acceptable hotel for the night because it was getting really dark, and I wouldn't recommend, and nobody on the internet recommends driving at night. We stopped in this very random but very actually okay hotel. It was very expensive for Guatemalan standards. It was like 67 euros per night with breakfast included for 2. Parking included. Like, it's a secure hotel, and they have like a fence all around it, and the guards with guns. We suspect that it's somehow related to narcotic bands or gangs, or I don't know how they're called. It was really weird because we were the only ones here when we arrived at around 6, but then a few other people arrived at the reception, so we are not the only guests of the hotel, thankfully. And then we also had the great pizza and some beers because they also have a restaurant. So overall, with food and the room, we paid around 100 euros, which is very much a lot for Guatemala, but we are safe. And also the barbed wire around the hotel area is electrified, so I asked why in my very broken Spanish, and they said, just for thieves, it will be okay, don't worry. So I was like, is this normal? They're like, yes. So I don't know what's normal here. Anyway, that's all for me. I'm really, really tired, and tomorrow is a new day. Hopefully, much better one. I find it incredible how this oasis exists in the middle of nowhere in Guatemala, just for people like us who got lost or didn't reach their destination by night and then just stop here. Now people are cleaning the pool, which I thought yesterday was abandoned. What universe is this?
Way of the road.
At least they have pancakes in this very weird hotel that we suspect to have connections to the real world of Guatemala. Good morning. Good morning, Edward.
Morning, Julia.
We've been driving. We woke up in this very weird hotel we found last night. I gave you the details already.
A narco hotel.
Yeah, well, we suppose it's kind of weird to have that hotel in the middle of nowhere, so probably the money used to build that comes from something illegal. Could be, maybe not. Although it was a big, nice hotel for nothing. I don't know. But this morning there
expensive
were
too.
Very expensive for Guatemala. But this morning were like 6 cars in the parking lot, so other people's were there. And now we've been driving for 1 hour. It's already 8:09. So we started driving at 7 because we learned our lesson. And yesterday we started driving at 11:30. It was already way too late. We got stuck in all the possible traffic jams in Guatemala and near Guatemala City. And that's not something you want ever to experience in your life, ever.
We did 150 kilometers in
7 hours.
7 hours, and right now we've done about 80 plus
80
kilometers
in
in
1
1 hour.
Which is, okay.
Compared to last night, that's brilliant.
So that's brilliant because we're aiming to get to Flores today, near Tikal, you know, their famous Mayan pyramids in the north part of Guatemala. And so far so good, because we were so concerned about yesterday's drive that we said that if today's going to continue, we're just going to drive back, because this makes no sense. But now it's okay.
I'll be honest, I wanted to drive back because Antigua was really nice, and I think it's the only part of Guatemala that's very touristy. It's very comfortable.
So far, yeah.
You can get vegan burgers and stuff like that. That's how touristy it is. People come from all over the world to do, well, especially America, to do yoga. But here it's very low here. Back to you, Julie.
Yeah, well, and now we can also we can already see the climate changing. Like it's definitely more tropical, less touristy, because in between villages and tiny towns, there's not much. It's a lot of trash on the sides of the road, and yeah, I think that the driving and the traffic, it's a main topic here. So what we are doing right now, driving through Guatemala to, like, from one very touristic place to another, it's something that not a lot of people do, and it's a whole topic. Like, should you drive in Guatemala? The short, very answer short would be no. Although I am driving right now.
No, don't drive.
Don't drive.
Don't. I mean, the other options are just slightly better, not much better.
Yeah, no.
Don't drive.
The other option would be to just take a internal flight, domestic flight from Guatemala City to Flores. That's doable. It's just about, right now, as of 2024, about $100 per person, which is in less than 1 hour to get there. So it's basically the best option ever. Because driving.
There's also a night bus if you want to take your chances with that.
On the road.
You won't be seeing much, so you won't be panicking. But if you've seen the traffic that surrounds Ciudad de Guatemala, if you know about that, you would be panicking and you won't have a very nice sleep on the bus. Think.
Yeah, well, we're just gonna film the road after this a bit, just to show you. But I don't know. So far, so good. Just a few things we found out the hard way is to wake up super early as soon as the sun rises and start driving if you're going anywhere in Guatemala.
Don't drive at night.
Don't drive at night under any circumstance. And this is coming from me, somebody who has been driving in Guatemala for a few days now, and I can say that it's very dangerous to drive here.
Don't expect to see all of the places Guatemala has to offer in one trip, because getting from one place to another is very difficult. Even going from Antigua to the lake, Atitlan, which is what most people do, that should be a 2-hour drive. For a lot of people, it's much more and difficult.
Yeah, so that's why everybody recommends taking like shuttle buses, chicken buses, private drivers, private tours, whatever, because the driving does represent a huge challenge for many travelers. But it's not like you cannot do it. It's just different from what you're used to. Very much different.
And if you're here on a holiday, you probably shouldn't even think about seeing too many places. You should just stick to Antigua or Lake Atitlan and just have fun there, because it is very fun. But driving or being driven, oh, poor dog. It will just really stress you out, even if you're just the passenger like I am, because it's chaos. And there ain't much to see, to be honest. I mean, the country is very beautiful, but if you're just seeing the roads...
Well, it's exotic. If you've never been to a country like this, it's very exotic, because you're going to be a bit shocked. For driving, we use Waze app.
Yeah, and basically just because we had 10 days and we're not sure, we're really not sure that we're gonna make it back in time. We just wanna be safe. We skipped on a few things, like we didn't go to Lake Atitlan. It didn't seem that interesting to us, and we didn't do the volcano hike, which we probably would have tried to do had we stayed in Antigua.
Yeah.
Even if it's pretty hard, but even if it's pretty difficult. But basically, just going to Tikal, it's up like a third of our entire trip. Most of it is gonna be on the road, pretty cramped conditions.
Oh, I think they're stopping. People here are driving as if they just invent their own law.
Because while people here are actually very, very nice, some of the nicest people I've
very
ever
friendly
met,
and
they,
helpful.
most of them, from what I've heard, they don't actually have a driver's license. Most of them don't get pulled over, so, you know.
Yeah, but right now, because it's super early, I just
Breaky.
thought I would imagine that people that are driving right now are people with actual jobs and places to be in, and they're not just driving for fun. So,
Can I have a rant, an anti-American rant? There's so many trucks here, and this is what makes driving particularly difficult, because you only basically have one road, and there are a lot of trucks. Most of these trucks, they're carrying goods for American restaurants. You have Denny's and McDonald's and Wendy's, especially.
but not just that, they're carrying a lot of
And
goods.
they're carrying Dole bananas. And what I'm saying is America's pretty involved right here. I think you should tax those companies. And even if you just tax them like 1.01%, I think you'll have enough money to make the roads better.
And to make more roads, because now there is one lane for each way, and this is what we have to share with all the cars and all the motos and everything. We are stuck in traffic again. So according to Waze, about 1 hour ago there was a car crash just 11 kilometers away from where we are right now. So it took us 1 hour to get to the queue. And basically this is, I think, what they meant when they said that traffic in Guatemala is unpredictable. And what makes it really worse is just that there are a lot of trucks which occupy like a lot of space, but then the small cars, like the people, locals, don't have the proper patience for this to go away, and then they start driving on the other lane, you know, for the other direction, and they just hurry up to get there just to surpass us or cut us in front of us. And this obviously does not help because it takes then longer for us to look. See, this is not like 2 lane per each direction. Anyway, so this is what happened. So it's 9:43, so 9:45 right now, and it's already busy. So note to self, next time start driving at 5:30 or something in the morning. Just when you see the slightest glimpse of light, that's your cue to get in the car, start driving as soon as possible, because maybe then you will have 3 hours of normal driving. Yeah, so really grateful for those 2 hours that we have. 2 hours? 2 hours and a half? Yeah. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, another thing is that apparently not a lot of people have a driver's license here. I don't know. Some of them seem to be driving okay. Some of them seem to be stopping their tuk-tuk or cars in very inappropriate areas, like very dangerous ramps and intersections. So this guy, no. Oh yeah, you can. Have you? Can you?
I did.
You did? You got him? He was shirtless. And he has no mirror.
He's like a kid. He looks like a
film
sport.
that. He has
I
no
filmed it, yeah. And he barely scraped
He almost touched the truck in front of us. Like, it was...
That's carrying flammable
Oh my God.
liquids. Probably
Like,
gas.
He touched the thing.
The bumper.
The bumper. Like, oh my God.
That kid looked
If
like
somebody
14,
would
16.
have told me this is happening here, I would not have believed this. I would...
Would you have taken the car anyway?
Maybe, no. No, but still, I don't feel in danger. I'm just shocked because I assume things are happening not the way normal people drive, but still, it's shocking to see. That's all. Just, you know, you see one thing after another and it's adding up. But that guy had no mirror on the right side, no window. He was shirtless and he was driving on the opposite direction, like backwards. I don't know. Guatemala traffic. Guatemala indeed. So we moved and we had to overcome a truck that was stuck. Eddie discovered his chocolate, melted chocolate that we
Made.
Well, the
It has every flavor.
Yeah, you put the toppings actually. You did not make the actual chocolate, but we got it in Antigua at the Choco Museum workshop thing.
It's decent.
And
It's like it has one flavor for each square.
Yeah. So here we are.
It's a desperate situation, really.
It's a desperate situation.
We're spending most of our holiday in Guatemala in the car, not even moving.
Okay.
What we have done is incredibly illegal,
It's the most illegal thing ever.
dangerous. You don't have a mic, so I'm gonna. So we just skip the line. And,
Oh.
oh no, a truck's going to flatten us.
Oh, wait.
God help us, sinners and foolish people, all of us.
They're used to people not having driver's license, so basically...
Or rules, for that
Oh,
matter.
rules.
Wait, it's a curb. It's a curb.
Primero a kör.
Mergi mult mai încet.
Oh.
O, da. Nu știu.
Unde?
Aici. Aici. Stai. Mamă. N-are loc de tine.
N-are loc de mine? Și ce, să mă dau înapoi?
Nu încearcă să te ocolească, dar s-ar putea să ne zgâriem. Înjurat. To be fair, he's right, deși sunt două mașini care depășesc.
Trebuie să mă dau acolo.
Cred că le-a dat ăsta la drum. Stai.
Așa, m-a înjurat un șofer Guatemala.
Nu știu unde ți-am pus eu. Aici ți-am pus.
After 2 hours in the queue at the accident site, I managed to overpass that in the most illegal way, and now we're finally moving again because there is a major split up of the main road. One is going to Puerto Barrio, like the port area, like direction America, and then the other one is to Flores, Tikal, which is basically through the jungle at this point. And there are not that many trucks at all. Actually, there are like smaller trucks, but the big trucks are not on this road at all because it leads nowhere. Like at some point, I think it just stops in the jungle, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think this is why the Mayans, the Tikal side is still standing, because the Spanish just couldn't be bothered to find it and destroy it, like they did everything else.
And I want to mention, like, the road Actually, it's really good. I mean, there were some hiccups, like some really bad potholes. Yeah. But those are avoidable, and right now it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after walking, driving in the jungle for like half a day or 2 days, we randomly found this shopping center with electronics and free bathrooms, which are very clean, and pizza places like Domino's and all kinds of shops. So Guatemala is actually really, really nice. Current situation in the middle of nowhere. Pizza time and Coke. And this is how we roll in Guatemala. Look at those guys. They just got pizzas. The guys with the guns.
Yep.
They,
from the same place.
Yeah, they got pizza from
Which made me think it must be good.
Enjoy. What?
Hot.
We made it to Tikal, and I'm so tired. Mainly because it was a full day of driving. It was 12 hours of driving, although it should have been just 6 or 7. And the second thing is that we found an accommodation which has a beautiful view, but right now it's night, so you cannot see it. But it's on a very steep hill, so we had to park the car somewhere near the main gate and then walk all the way up to the room. And don't get me wrong, it's lovely, but after 12 hours of driving and barely parking in a very tight and narrow and steep place, it's just, but we made it. Whew. Good morning from El Remate near Tikal. This is where we spent 2 nights. This is our second morning here, and we are getting ready to drive back to Guatemala City, which hopefully will only take us 2 days. So back to the driving issue. But right now we are getting ready. We had melon for breakfast, also some avocado with tortilla, and we enjoy this beautiful, beautiful view of the lake here, Petan Lake. And yeah, I do recommend this place, this accommodation. If you're into beautiful views, the internet is great, which is not very easy to find here in Guatemala. And also I want to mention the fact that water is not drinkable here in Guatemala, so basically you will have to just buy water everywhere, but don't worry, you'll find it everywhere. And also all hotels offer at least 2 small bottles of water, but you can easily buy from any supermarket, and there are like small local ones everywhere. And you can pay with card almost everywhere. And when we rented the car, the first thing we did the next morning was to get to the supermarket in the mall and just buy ourselves like 8 liters. Yeah, 8 liters water tank, I don't know, bottle, huge bottle of water, which we keep in the car and refilling our smaller bottles, so that's really good. And also here in the jungle, the mosquito spray, insect repellent, was really good because I have bites all over my legs. Eddie has almost none, but you know, if you're like me, you're gonna need it like a lot, in the sunscreen as well. So yeah, Guatemala is not as scary as we initially thought. It's just that logistically is more complicated than it first looks. when you look at the map. So you always need to have enough time to travel from one place to the other. Although the map says just 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers, that's probably going to be one entire day. And waking up at 5 or 6, it's one thing you will need to do, especially if you plan on driving a lot that day. Also, here it was very hard to sleep past 5 because it's 9 right now and you can still hear the roosters around. It's been going on for a while. But I cannot complain because I went to sleep at 8 p.m. I was that tired after the visit at Tikal, which by the way is amazing. You should go watch our video on that. And yeah. And we are ready to go. Yeah, all packed. Let's see where today will take us. I have no idea, but we have 3 days to get to Guatemala City to catch our plane to Costa Rica. So just let's hope for the best. If today doesn't go as planned, shoot for stars. If today doesn't go as planned, tomorrow we're gonna stop panicking tomorrow. But today's that's for another day. Today's chill. So right now we are crossing the ferry, the famous ferry in, I don't know, the way from Flores to Coban. And there is actually a river. You could easily build a bridge here, but they're not ready with the bridge. So, and a few kilometers back, I saw some people from the government measuring the street. So I'm guessing that at some point, probably even next year, you know, they're going to build like a new road and bridge. So they're almost there. But this is like a very basic a ferry. I've never been to one of these before. So the crossing of the river was actually much easier than expected. So because I panicked at first when I saw like there's a river, like a ferry crossing on this route, but this just takes like 2 minutes. And it was not crowded at all. It was not traffic, no trucks or anything. There's a car stopped in the middle of the road. Who knows why? And it was only 15 quetzals. But I read on Google Maps, like some people were saying that it was 30 for them. Also, sometimes it can get more busy, and then there are several small ferries. Like this is the official one because there was one policeman on the ferry. But probably they also have some private ones which are a bit more expensive but faster, so you know, that's the thing. So but I also talked in Spanish to them, so maybe it helped, I don't know. So it was only 15 quetzals, which is like $1.50 for the car and the two of us, I don't know. It was okay, it was fast and okay, but again, I think that if you want to drive in Guatemala, especially outside the city, in the mountain area, yeah, I think it's important that you get insurance, full insurance for your car, and also you get like a car with higher, how you call that, Eddie? Like, yeah, like the distance from the ground. No, like a higher car. Like a higher, there's a cool name for it. There, I don't know, switching from Spanish to Romanian to English is messing with my brain. So I think it would be much easier to drive like a bigger car with more distance to the ground. So you will not be in any danger of bumping into the ground, because some of the crossings, also the speed bumps, also called tumults here. In Guatemala, you're going to see some signs, tumults in 100 meters, also in Spanish. Sometimes there is no sign. Those are really rough, especially for lower cars, city cars, sedan cars like we have right now. So I don't recommend that unless you're really experienced with that. Otherwise, getting a more expensive rental, but like a higher guard from the ground is advisable. And I'm usually the cheap person. I'm not getting any extra insurance or anything with rental. So if it's coming from me, trust me on this one. Yeah. Also, the road was pretty okay, I would say. Like some parts of it were new, some other parts were normal. There are some potholes, but nothing too crazy. Like if you pay attention to the road, you will notice them and you will be able to drive around them. I mean, overall, better than expected. We are now driving to visit the famous Semuc Champey nature spot in Guatemala. It's in a mountain nature oasis, so they have this turquoise water pools in which you can swim. They have like viewing point and everything, but it's right in the highlands of Guatemala, so you either have to book yourself a trip from Coban City, or you can drive there yourself if you have a car like we do. So after driving in Guatemala for almost a week now, I kind of got used to driving here. Like cars in the middle of the road stopped, motorcycles everywhere, nobody's minding the traffic rules, so you kind of get used to that if you have enough experience driving similar places like this, such as Romania. And if not, I highly recommend getting like a driver or a private tour. Anyway, so far the drive is spectacular. The road is winding, very steep. So the drive from Coban City to Semuc Champey is about 2 hours and a half if you have a pickup truck, a four-wheel drive, and you are able to drive up to the viewing point. Otherwise, you'll just have to, like, we have a normal sedan car, and it's like the last bit of the road from Lancoin, how is it called? Lancoin city town to Semuc is dirt road, steep, and it's not recommended for a normal city car. Then you will have to just park your car there and get a ride up, which we're gonna try to do and tell you if it's possible. Otherwise, if you have the budget, I recommend from the get-go just start with the from the airport, just get a four-wheel drive because it has higher clearance and it's more suitable for all types of roads here in Guatemala. But also a normal car should be just fine. It's cheaper, and I think this is the only place where you will actually need a four-wheel drive, especially during rainy season. But now it's dry, so we're good. So we just arrived at Semuc Champey. I wasn't sure we were gonna make it, but here we are. We got like the last communal transport, which was 25 quetzal per person. The last road, part of the road is under construction. So by the time you're gonna see this and try to get here, like like 6 months to a year, probably the work's gonna be completed and gonna be able to drive here any car. And now we're just gonna go down to the pools, not to the viewing point because we don't have time. Our transport back leaves in about 30 minutes. So we are just gonna do this really, really quickly. Let's go. Cosas cabrón, el río. Mergem para el río sau para... Started this morning with a visit at the orchards place. And then we decided, since we have this full day, to still visit something, and tomorrow evening we need to get to the airport, so we basically have 2 more full days almost. We decided to head back to the mountains towards Lake Atitlan, and right now we are basically crossing all the mountains that exist in Guatemala. So we've been on that mountain, and then we've been down the valley. There's a eagle or whatever predator, and then we climbed this mountain, and now we are on this one. Us and all the trucks here. Yeah, a lot of mountains. We've seen all the mountains, all the driving on the mountains. So if you're not used to driving on mountains, don't drive in Guatemala. I mean, you can, but not if you want to visit the mountain area where they grow the coffee beans and cocoa, and you know, they have the plants and the jungle and the forest, and you know, all the crazy nature spots are in the mountains. So yeah. Wow, we are on another mountain now. first time here. Look. Great views everywhere, by the way. Cannot complain about the views. But there's not enough time for the views because I always have to watch the road. You know, there's always a pothole or a stray dog or a truck stopped in the middle of the road. So basically, there's a lot of action on the road. No time to see the mountains. Another place that's very, very popular in Central America and in Guatemala especially is Lake Atitlan. This is it. Right now it's like midday, you cannot really see it, but there are two volcanoes on the other side of the lake, and there are a bunch of boats that would take you from one village to the other because the entire lake is very touristy. They have a lot of very colorful villages all around it, and right now we are just on this road driving around the lake, trying to get to Guatemala City, the capital of Guatemala, and I just have to mention that the roads around the lake are extremely steep, probably the steepest, if that's a word, I've ever driven on.
Steepest, yeah.
And I do not recommend this for the faint-hearted.
It's the hipsters found it.
It's just no. So yeah, sorry, yeah, Eddie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the hipsters found it, and it was harder for the hipsters to get here than for Columbus to reach America.
For us, it was. I thought it was going to die.
But here lie the vegan burgers, and this is the deepest lake in all Central America.
It is.
And to be honest, since it's such a hot day, it's always a hot day here. When you get here and you're next to a body of water, it's pretty fun.
It feels refreshing. So yeah.
And the image of the two volcanoes behind it,
because
that makes for a nice post.
Lake. It's a volcanic lake.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
And apparently there are all these villages where you can go and drink coffee, and I'm just gonna stop right here.
This is a volcanic lake, as it's surrounded by volcanoes, and it's the deepest lake in Central America, about 390 meters. And those are the famous chicken buses, which are actually the only participants in the traffic here in Guatemala that do scare me like a lot. This is our Guatemalan road trip. Actually, I know it kind of sounds weird to say this, but I got used to their driving style after a few days. Like, you get used to how trucks signal you to bypass them. They signal left, and then it means that you're good to go. But do take a notice that most, if not all, vehicles on the road do not actually mind the normal driving rules. Like, there are no signs almost anywhere. There are no signs. Like, priority is like a thing that, you know, depends on who's driving. So you do have to get used to a bit to their driving style. But after you do that, I mean, it's possible to drive in Guatemala, definitely possible. So if right now, I got really comfortable with it. So maybe it's just me, I don't know. Eddie keeps saying that, oh no, you're driving too fast, oh no, this is not safe, but yeah, I feel comfortable right now. And there are speed bumps everywhere, all sorts of speed bumps. Sometimes they're signal, they're called tulumo, or yeah, sometimes they're not. They're really rough. But it's like a roller coaster. Driving in Guatemala definitely feels like a roller coaster. It's included in the experience. Yeah.